Today's lesson is IFB, in-ear communications. All right, so you're saying, Brad, what does IFB stand for? Well, between me and you, I don't know, okay? I don't know. Inner, I'm thinking with the I, but I'm not sure. So what is it is this? IFB is a small little box, almost like an old iPod of days gone by, that you put in your back pocket. It has headphones that plug into it, and those headphones or earbuds go straight to your ear. And you're on direct communication with a director or a producer, okay? So that is the deal. You're on communication with them. And that can be a good thing, and sometimes that can be a bad thing. But I'll tell you what, once you get used to using an IFB, in-ear communication, you'll never want to go back. Because if you work with the proper director and producer who knows how to effectively talk to you through your in-ear while you're communicating or while you're talking, it's the best thing in the world, because you can't think of everything all the time, but if someone else is watching and listening and they can feed you one thing or two things here and there through your IFB, your in-ear communication, it only makes you stronger. It makes you look like you're even smarter. It makes you look like you know a lot more. Now, who's talking to you? Is it some random voice in your IFB, in your in-ear communication? Who is it? Usually, it's just the director or slash producer. One of them is the person who's running the show and is able to talk to you solo channel into your headset. Now, if they are new, it's a new producer, it's a new director, and maybe they're not used to working with this technology. Well, that's why it's important to talk to them first. Now, if they're a seasoned veteran as a producer or director and they talk to people in in-ear communication all the time, great, then that's probably fine. But I always like to talk to them just a little bit ahead of time, and not to try and have an attitude or anything, but just to let them know, hey, less is more. Just feed me like one word, two words here and there. Don't go into a full statement on things. And I'll go into a story in just a moment on that, how that can be. But it's much better if you're forgetting something, they can remind you, you're going to commercial in 20 seconds, right? And you may have forgotten while you're talking because you're caught up in the moment of announcing and it's hard to remember everything. That's why in-ear communication can be your best friend, all right? So the best way I like to help people to be able to do something like this is try listening to a podcast, okay? Now, everyone loves podcasts, so listen to a podcast, okay? Put one earpiece in, all right? So you hear it just through one of your earbuds, and have a conversation with someone. Talk with someone about something. While it's playing, but not to be listening to it, but talk to the person that way, okay? And then see if you can pick up a quote or two from the podcast that you can actually bring into your conversation. This is tricky, but if you're listening to the podcast and you're talking to a friend about, hey, where are you gonna go to dinner tonight? And you hear something in your head through the podcast, see if you can integrate what that podcast is saying into your communication with your live communication you're having with your friend, right? It's easier said than done, but the more you're able to do that, the better you'll be able to handle having an IFB. Having in-ear communication can really help you out. But you gotta get used to it. When you put it on for the first time and you're in the middle of announcing and all of a sudden you hear a voice in your head, it's not yours, telling you something, you wanna stop all the time. It's one of the weirdest things. You feel like, what is that? Is somebody above talking to me? It's one of the hardest things to adjust to. So when it comes down to that, it can be your friend, but you got to get used to it. So practicing having the podcast in and talk with people, that's a good way to do it. Even listening to music with one ear and talking to someone, that can help you get used to it, because that way it's not an uneasy feeling. One thing about IFB and in-ear communication is, one thing I always want to say is, BYOB, bring your own buds. That's right, bring your own earbuds. All right, now as you can see, I have two in right here. So I have one in this ear and I have one in this ear. I like to take one out like this, put that behind so you can't see it. And now I can hear a director talking to me. You can see it right here. It's just any earbud's gonna work for you. And I can hear a director talking directly into that ear. Now with this ear, I can hear what's going on at the venue. Now if I'm interviewing somebody and I have the mic going back and forth, now I can hear them through this ear as well. And I can hear the director if he has something that I'm forgetting and he needs to remind me of. Now, one of the other things that could be good for you if you have in-ear communication or IFB, sometimes there's a delay, and we've talked about that in other classes before, about the speaker delay. So sometimes when you get at an event and you speak on the microphone, it's about a quarter of a second it takes to come back out. And so that delay to new announcers can be very unnerving, and it can actually kind of mess up your rhythm. So if that's a problem, that's what I always say, is go back and put in both earbuds. See? Now what I'll do there is now I'm running 2 earbuds. So not only can I hear the director, but I can hear myself announcing as well, because that sound is fed through your IFB, your earbuds as well. See? That way, if you have a delay, now you can just hear your sound real time, and whoever you're talking to real time, and a director can chime in as well. So that is very important when it comes down to it, either using 2, using 1. But one of the biggest things I could say is bring your own earbuds. I tell you what, do you really want to put something like this into your ear and it has like some wax or just something disgusting in it? No, you don't. So if you bring your own, you're always covered no matter what. You're gonna have clean earbuds, the ones that go in your ear and you're used to. And some sound guys travel with packs and they have new ones and they can give those to you, but comfort is better. Like you go to and you're gonna trust someone else's earbud, you go in there and maybe it's too big for your ear and it keeps popping out and you can't hear the director and you're on camera. Well, you want these things to stay in. If I'm on camera and I'm doing an interview with the camera, I need these to stay put. I don't need them to be popping out. So that's why bring a set that you're comfortable with, and that's how you do it. All right, story that I want to talk about real quick is I was working with a brand new director. He was new to one of these big events I was doing, and I had the in-ear communication on with him. Well, he started coming on while I'd be in the middle of talking and said, hey Brad, you should say something like this. And then he would go into like 5 sentences in a row. Meanwhile, I'm on announcing, he's telling this to me in my ear, where there's no way I can keep up with him telling me 5 sentences while I'm talking. So just picture this. I'm announcing, so I hear myself in my ear. He's telling me 5 sentences. He's rattling off a paragraph in my ear as well while I'm talking, trying to entertain the crowd. It was the most hardest thing I've ever had to deal with when it comes to in-ear communication. But from that point on, I talked to the director and the producer, worked it out with them, and says, listen, less is more. Feed me exactly what I need to know. Don't go into detail. And if I am not responding to what you want me to say, just remind me again. And then usually that's going to take care of business. All right? IFB, in-ear communication, Tame your talent.